So there are many moments, but the one that stood out for me was when Martina walked into my office and she says, "This tool is amazing." And I said, "How so?" And she said, "I recorded myself. I looked at myself. And you know what I saw? I saw what I didn't want to be. I saw the teacher that I didn't want to have, the one that talks all the time, the one that is directing everyone all the time. I want to be the teacher that is actually allowing my students to learn. So I know what my starting point is, and I promise you," and she said it point blank, "I promise you, I'm acceptable now, I will become very good. And I'll be using this to guide me."
So we were looking for something that was consistent, ongoing, that didn't involve getting a whole staff meeting together. It could be where a small group of teachers or even one teacher looking at their practice. And that's what we were looking for. Iris Connect, we wanted to know that it was safe. I had to sell it to teachers to say it was safe, they were protected, but also at the same time it was useful for them. Cost didn't come into it because the value of what we saw and what Iris Connect provided, it was worth it to pursue further, which is what we did.
For me, Bushra, to be quite honest, the most important factor was building trust and actually getting teachers to become comfortable with the tool. Normally within professional development and classroom observations, teachers are often on the back end and they're quite concerned, worried about, is this a punitive measure? Is it something that's going to evaluate me? And for me, we wanted to invest in something where teachers feel safe, and that would in turn then elevate the teaching pedagogy and methodologies that they use in their classroom through self-reflection. So trust was the number one priority that we had, that we needed to build. So when we started off in Al Jana'en at the start of the academic year with a pilot of IRIS, we call it a gap analysis, a reality check of where every teacher was. And we did classroom observations and we did walkthroughs, and we, lack of the better word, we gave teachers a grading. This is where you are. And we provided them with tools, PDs, Iris Connect. We gave them walkthroughs that they could go through, see best practices, etc. The data showed that within a 4-week period, our teachers went up 1 notch.
When we heard about Iris Connect, we were like, oh, we have to record ourselves, we have to record lessons. Whereas now it's like something it's natural. We get the iPad, we record Iris Connect, and off we go. So I think in the beginning, a lot of teachers were very scared or afraid to record yourself. Whereas now we take it as a reflective process.
Someday you don't record a lesson and then it's like, oh, this was a wonderful lesson, why didn't I record it? Just to look back at it, what went well and things like that. But it's nice for me to go back to see, I thought this was going to be a nice idea. Now I look at my recording, it's like, it doesn't look like my students are very engaged. Maybe I must adjust that part of my lesson again. So the reflective, I can go back to my lesson. I like that. I can go look at it again as many times as I want, and then I can make notes from there on how to improve my teaching.
I really love that there's a pathway, there's an agenda, everything is set out for you on IRIS, the timings are there for you. As a coach, you don't have to really think about anything. You're doing IRIS and you're following those steps exactly as it is, and you're literally doing your job as a coach and as a leader. So I think for me, I've become more reflective also, not just on my own practice, but also on other teachers' practices, where I can then take that feedback from all the lessons I've seen and be like, okay, I think as a grade or as a school or in a certain department, this is where we need to improve.
Jana'en's main priority is literacy. And together with Iris Connect, as well as with Bloom Training Academy, it was a rubric that would tell us what best practices we would like to see within a literacy lesson, together with the PS3. That is actually what Iris Connect has supported us with in terms of ensuring that our teachers are delivering the best practice with the K-2 literacy component that has been built into Iris. And that is just, it is phenomenal results in terms of the teacher that was acceptable to going to very good to outstanding practice.
Like I said, we are managing students during the day. We need to manage behavior, we need to do tasks. We have a lot going on in the class. And then if we put the lessons through the AI, it gives me like, I was talking too much. There's a lot of teacher talk, or there wasn't enough student engagement. It tells me more of what my lesson how I can improve it, but what it also is missing, but that I didn't see in the classroom.
But I feel my AI or my Iris has been truthful to me, because there is no judgment or like you are being evaluated, because it's exactly that evidence. That's a wonderful thing. Like that's solid evidence that shows this is what you have done, this you can do ahead. And so it's there in front of me, it's explicit. So I really like that.
One lesson that really surprised me when I went back to watch is sometimes I'd ask my kids a question or a simple activity to complete. And as I was walking around, I noticed myself that I kept repeating either the question or the instruction. Like I just kept saying it over and over. So that was something that was one of the first things that I actually noticed. So that is something that I started focusing on, especially when teaching, and then I would record, and then my goal was, okay, you give the instructions once, the activity once, and then just let's see where it goes from there. So it was actually very beneficial for me.
So Iris Connect has helped me become more intentional in my teaching. I can see what is really happening in the classroom, rather than relying on my feelings towards my lesson. For my students, I have noticed that they become more confident, they speak confidently, and at the same time, they listen to each other.
By the end of this academic year, as we stand now, we have 54% of our teaching staff that is on a good level. 32% is at very good, and the rest are at acceptable level. But looking at the data of the impact of that 87% of teachers, if my numbers are correct, it's phenomenal growth, and that within a year. So imagine what the practice would be like going in next year with Iris Connect starting off on the right foot and not a pilot phase as we did this year. So hitting the ground running. Just recently we went through a performance appraisal system with teachers, and the evidence that they could bring along to their appraisal was amazing. How teachers were so confident and also challenged us in our thinking about, you saying that I'm this, but this is what I've done, this is my path that I've gone down. And Iris Connect actually has supported that as well in terms of providing teachers with that reflective, reflection on their practice, but at the same time going back to improve on their practice, and then coming out saying, wow, I did that and I've improved, I've started here, but this is how I've grown so far. If I really want to talk data in terms of external assessments, which is international, which is our math data, our kids, our math is at 71% attainment, our progress is at 95% attainment. Our English, although they are second language learners, they are at 52%, so half of our school is at an attainment level where English is concerned, and that's phenomenal. And they're not just things that are not directly related to a benchmark assessment. So for example, learning skills. If you walk in our school, our kids in terms of problem solving, critical thinking, adapting to change, that has just shown how our learning skills are also interwoven through the whole coaching methodology, teaching philosophy, all of those things just coming together. So the growth has been phenomenal. think you start off with the vision first and what your goals are for your school as such, and then having a very clear plan that is, a plan that is very detailed in steps that you need to take in order to ensure that it becomes successful. You need to also build trust amongst everyone within the school. Everyone needs to understand the tool that they will be using and the impact that that tool would have. So I think ultimately it is the vision that needs to be there, and that vision needs to be collectively owned by everyone within the school, because that is when you would be able to reach your destination. I think the culture needs to be also in terms of open to feedback, and realizing that it's not a right or wrong, but it's a developmental process of where everyone is actually moving towards progress for our students and attainment for our students. So if we improve ourselves as practitioners, our kids will ultimately benefit from that as well. I've never had any interactions with EduEnhance that hasn't been positive. It's been a phenomenal journey with our first connection with iReady and then back to Iris Connect. It has been a fruitful journey in terms of where I've grown as an individual with the support from EduEnhance, a partner in education for sure, empowering us to ensure that we actually move in the right direction, always open to support, commend, involve. Those are just things that come off from the top of my head, and a partnership that I hope to continue.
Now, teachers quite happily talk about Iris Connect and saying, I videoed. They are now at that stage where they're happy to share, and we're now at the stage where we're happy to snippet some bits to develop that throughout the school. So going back to that initial question of CPD, we're creating our own CPD by using the videos that we've already got and captured.
You know, initially, if I think back now, I don't know how we coped without Iris Connect. It's now actually interwoven in everything that we do.
Has it improved our teaching and learning? Certainly has, quite significantly. I think using Iris Connect and our coaching and teachers wanting to improve and saying, right, how can we improve? This is one method that we would use. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would.